There is a question that many people in motivating roles never get asked. And if they do, they often deflect it. If you are a coach, a counsellor, a manager, a teacher, a parent, your job is to hold the space for other people, to show up, to have solutions, to keep the energy in the room. But what happens when you don't have it? What happens when the person everyone turns to for motivation hits a wall themselves? And when life gets heavy, and at some stage it does for all of us, who steps in for the person who steps in for everyone else? Today's guest is someone who has spent over 40 years educating and motivating others to perform better. Craig Harper is an exercise scientist, a PhD candidate in psychology, the author of 7 books and the host of the You Project podcast. He's worked with elite athletes, with corporate leaders, and with everyday people navigating that gap between who they are and who they want to be. But today, we're going to start somewhere different, because recently Harps has been doing it tough. And rather than hiding it, he's been open and honest, and I really respect that. This conversation is for anyone who has ever held it together publicly while quietly carrying something heavy in their personal life. It is for the helpers, the motivators, the people others lean on. Who motivates the motivator? This is the show that brings potential into everyday life. This is Performance Intelligence. Harps, we were chatting a few months ago about ideas for future podcasts, which we periodically do. I think the cool kids call them a co-share. And I asked you, how are you going? And your response stopped me. You said, I'm feeling pretty shit, to be honest, mate. Life has been bloody tough. And then on the You Project last week, on an episode with Tiffany Cook, you said something that stopped me in my tracks.
I've never said this ever publicly, but I'm going to say it. Sometimes I feel really lonely, like in a busy room full of people. There's nothing about me that if I'm in a room of people, I want it to be about me. In fact, quite the opposite. I'd like to be unnoticed, but I've felt my whole life to an extent like I don't fit in, right? Mm. I know that I can fit in. I have social skills. I can communicate. I can do what I need to make people laugh and do the thing.
And I think a lot of people would hear that and go, Craig Harper, Harps, lonely, how, what? Because your identity and your energy and connection is all about helping other people, but you're a human with feelings and emotions and challenges like the rest of us. So I wanted to get on today, mate, and talk about who motivates the motivator.
Can we do something happier? Can we do something more comfortable? Hello, mate. It's good to chat to you. It's always good to chat to you. I'm happy to go wherever you want to go. And I'm interested in human behavior and human responses and just the way that we reason and rationalize and process our own thinking and behaving and choosing and the world around us. And so this is a weird emotion, but sometimes my emotion around my own emotions is like if I feel flat or if I'm in a state that's not great, I get curious around it and I want to learn about me in the middle of that. So I think, yeah, you're right. I've felt a bit flat lately and I've struggled, and there would have been a time in my life where I would not have this conversation with you because I was way too much of an alpha male. And my ego was, it's probably not terrible now, but it was significant. And I just wanted to be the guy that didn't have any chinks in his armor. And, that guy doesn't exist anywhere, not just me, but anywhere. So the more within reason, vulnerable and open, and I hate this word, it gets flogged and misused, but authentic I can be. I realize that for some people, not all, but that's more helpful than Craig, the bloody human behavior expert, just banging on about theories about performance and psychology and happiness and contentment and all those things. So, yeah, I actually started a chat with Tiff, who co-hosts some of my shows. I started off and we were having a shit weekend. I said, Tiff, how's your week been? And she turned it on me and went, well, actually, how's your week been? And I went, this is tricky because the actual answer is not very good. And so we just went from there. How are you?
I'm very good, Harps, but yes, you've had a time, haven't you?
It's been an interesting time on planet Craig. It's been one of those those times that happens to people where normally I'm the one coaching and supporting or doing my best to. So I've been coaching me, supporting me, going, come on, you can do this. It's been I don't want to be at all self-indulgent, but I guess to a point I would like to share with people what's been going on away from all the whiteboards and the gags and the dick jokes and the fucks and the cocks and it's been, I'm not going to lie, it's been hard. It's been really hard. So mum and dad, 86, 87 in the not too near future. Dad's 87 in July. And it's just been, and let me say up front, I'm not looking for any sympathy, tiff or anyone, but geez, it's been a test. It's been really interesting for me to have self-awareness in the middle of some really challenging things and trying to figure out how I need to be, while not manufacturing anything, but how I need to be energetically, emotionally, practically for my parents who are going through some stuff. So the not very quick version is that, dad's pretty crook. He's got a bunch of complicated, intersecting medical issues that mean he's been in hospital for the last week, and it's not great. It's not great. Yeah. And when somebody's really physically unwell, you kind of, part of you is like, oh, we'll just treat this and give them a pill for that and do an assessment on that. And there's all of the medical stuff that's going on. And there's a lot with him. But then there's the practical stuff and the emotional stuff. And then me, mum and dad are, I would say codependent in that they just, they've never really been apart. I don't know, since they got married, how many nights they've spent apart. And that they got married in 62, folks. So think about that. So that's 64 years ago. In fact, May 26. So in 8 days from when we're recording this, it's 64 years of marriage. So they're more one than they are two. And so there's all the emotional and the psychological and the sociological issues. And truly, it's hard not to let yourself go down the path that you don't want to go down. Trying to find a little bit of light in the darkness and trying to not capitulate. And then, and people care. So I get asked 50 times a day at the moment, and then you don't want to go, I can't be fucked talking about it, but I kind of can't. But at the same time, lots of people love him and them. It's been a test of me, for me, and trying to walk my own talk. So it's been an interesting time, Tiffany Ann Cook. I think everyone gets lonely or feels alone or feels sad or feels scared and there's no self-pity in this, because overall my life is great. And even, the focal point of my concern at the moment, which is my aging parents, they've been great parents. They've had a great life. They're both 87 this year. So in the context of things, it's really more normal than abnormal. But every first is a first. I've never had old parents, super old parents that are in the state my parents are in. And so God bless them. And so you just, in the middle of all of the stuff that I know and think I know and I've been through, this is a first for me, and trying to navigate all the emotional, psychological, medical, clinical, practical, financial variables around trying to take care of parents who are on the home straight. Yeah, that's a steep learning curve for me, but I tend to not waste a lot of energy on things I can't control. But I also acknowledge, I don't feel great today, or I feel a bit sad, but not helpless or hopeless. But that's how I feel. And so it's been an interesting month or two, learning more, obviously, in a practical realm of how to navigate this new kind of a challenge and space, but also paying attention. Like my whole PhD is around really self-awareness. And old Socrates said 2,500 years to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And I think to really understand ourselves is not a quick, easy, or often comfortable process, because there's got to be a level of self-acknowledgement that we don't want.
So I'm going to hold you to two things, Harps. One is you threw me at the start. I promise I'll do a more upbeat, more motivating, more inspiring introduction next time.
Hey, I'm kidding.
And the second, and it's a question I've been thinking about a lot leading into this discussion. So when you've got a lot going on with your parents, and this will resonate a lot with our audience. In fact, I have more briefs, or we have more briefs now with executive teams where they talk about the bookends. So Andrew, Angela, hey, we want to do something for our executives, but a lot of them have got kids that are getting a bit older, but they're also shifting from being the child to being the carer of their parents. So this is really common for people in our age group. So the question that's been rattling for me is how do you go about energy at the moment, your energy, and getting the right pitch or the right aperture for energy of people you work with?
Yeah. So a lot of what I do, and I choose it and I'm grateful for it, but a lot of my interactions are energy out, not energy in, because I spend a lot of time with people who need help, which is a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that. But right now, I tend to not spend a lot of time with people that I don't need to, or I don't love being around that person. If there's somebody that fills my cup, I'm happy. But I kind of, we all have, I used to call it with my athletes and teams, I used to call it their performance threshold. And it was really about where's the point where what I'm doing, whatever it is, whether it's training, whether it's doing session after session with clients, or whether or not it's, business, or where my performance starts to turn to crap. And so for me, because I'm reasonably self-aware, I won't commit to, like I've done a podcast today, one of mine, and I'm doing yours, and I would not do another one today. Whereas normally I've done 5 podcasts in a day, but I just recognize that. And I'm, by the way, genuinely happy to be here, and I love talking to you because you're a mate, but also none of this. Sometimes sometimes you do a podcast and it feels like work, and other times it just feels like, for me, this is energy in, even though, I'm answering questions, that I'm doing the thing that for me right now, there's just nothing but calm and contentment. There's zero anxiety. I'm glad I'm here. And I know I'm probably going to feel better than worse after I finish this. So it's very much about self-awareness for me. And I think, keeping in mind that, whether or not you're a podcaster or a CEO or an athlete or a checkout person at Coles, or whatever your station in life or your job at the minute, or you're a mum or you're a dad, or you've got no kids or 9 kids, or ultimately we're all human beings just on this journey trying to figure shit out. And, the truth is that different things will work for different people. So what works for me is, my own little protocol and around, food and lifestyle and exercise and time alone and time with others. But my formula probably wouldn't work for anyone else in the way that it works for me, because there's only one me. I don't know if that's good or bad. But I think, one of the things, especially when we're in the self-helps, personal development, human behavior, psychology, excellent space, is that we try to find this recipe or this formula, the 5 steps, the 3 steps, the 7 steps. Like, honestly, fuck the steps, because the steps vary day to day. And what will work for me on Monday won't work for me on Thursday, because I'm a different version of me. So for me, there's very much there are some logical things that for me, non-negotiables. I've got to walk 10,000 steps plus a day. Most days of the week, I'm going to lift weights. Most days of the week, I'm going to, do my research and all these things that are kind of non-negotiables. But then the other stuff is flexible. And, I think it's being able to tap in, not into the knowledge, but into the intelligence or the wisdom or the insight or the intuition, whatever you want to call it. For me, it's the stuff that that nobody's taught you. And I'm not even talking about life experience and, I've been through this and I know that. But, this is a bit woo-woo probably so early in the podcast, but I believe there's an intelligence that's outside of us that, well, whatever that is, like I experience this a lot where I feel like I'm a conduit. I'm not the answer, but I'm a conduit to the answer sometimes. And this, again, this is cliche, but I've done presentations where I did this one presentation, which I will never forget, where it was in Melbourne. It was with a public audience. It was a half day and I spoke for nearly 4 hours. And truly, when I finished, it felt like 30 minutes. And on that day, I had 700 people in a room, and I would say 600 people cried, 600 people laughed. And there was just, and this amazing thing happened despite me, not because of me. And so sometimes it's almost, how do I help me? I need to get out of my way. And I need to, because emotions aren't always reliable. I can feel a certain way while knowing that that's actually not the case. I can get up on stage and feel like I'm a fraud, they're going to hate me, this, that. But I have the knowledge that, well, Craig, you've been up here thousands of times and you're not shit at this. You actually know that. That's not opinion or a guess. You've got data, you've got evidence, you've got proof. But at the same time with that, you can still feel rubbish and acknowledge the feeling without being held to ransom by that feeling.
So have you got a couple of people you ask, hey, how am I going? What do you see? What am I missing? Is it a couple of trusted people? Do you have a board of people on that? How does that work?
Well, I have some that just tell me without being asked. So my best mate from school, his name's Vin. Shout out to Vin. Vincent Heaton Harris. Love him. Every time we finish talking, one of us goes, love you, mate, right? So I love him, he loves me. But he will go, no, I think that's bullshit. Like one of my ideas, that's bullshit. Or I disagree, or whatever. And I like that because when I go, okay, why do you think that's bullshit? Then often he'll say something which, from where he's standing, metaphorically or literally, it is bullshit. And so this is part of an extrapolation of, metacognition, thinking about thinking that you mentioned earlier, and then metaperception, understanding how others see us. But in the middle, theory of mind, which we've spoken about, but is your capacity to understand others even though you don't agree with them or align with them, realizing that understanding somebody is not necessarily even liking them. But it's in our interest, whatever the context, if we are in some human interaction, personal, professional, romantic, negotiation, whatever it is, we are definitely at an advantage if we can understand the experience or part understand the experience of the person in front of us.
But you've also got to be open to feedback. So you obviously grew up with Vin or Vinny and you've got a history and lineage there. It's good to have someone like that, isn't it, for people listening to have it. I always say when I'm working with an athlete or an artist that's about to go big, and I get them to get a sheet of paper and write, put their name in the middle, draw a circle. Who are the 4 or 5 people in your inner circle? And if I'm still working with you in 5 years and those 4 or 5 people is 80% the same, I reckon we're going to be okay. And I know that sounds so simple, but as their bubble grows, if they keep grounded with those people that knew them, when they were at school and made the mistakes or stuff up throughout uni, it's going to keep them grounded. They're not going to believe the press because it's that song, it comes and goes in waves, and so does fame and so does success. And you and I have both seen way too many people, mate, who get swept up in all the furor and the fame, and then 5-6 years later it's gone. And if you've lost those core people, life is really lonely. In fact, it's horrible because you've gone from the excitement and the anticipation, and we know on goal setting, it's not actually the goal, it's the anticipation of the goal that gets people excited. It's why there's a post-Olympic depression, because it's been 4 years, 8 years, 12 years to get to the Olympics. You do, and then shit, what do I do after that?
And you realize those initial relationships are built on love and connection, and sometimes the subsequent relationships are built on a strategy. And it's, as you have, I'm sure, and a lot of our listeners, all of a sudden it's our podcast, sorry, your listeners, Whereas, oh, this person's great to me when I'm valuable to them. Well, that's a strategic alliance on their part. That's not. Whereas the people that I know, know with 100% confidence, doesn't mean 100% accuracy, but 100% confidence on my part, that would be, if I was Craig Harper, the unemployed bloke who was struggling, they would love me and be there for me just as much, maybe more, right? Or no disrespect to anyone who's not working at the minute. It's just that I have, and I don't mean there to be any woe is meanness in this, but so many people who want to be your friend because it's in their interest to be your friend. It's like when people say to me, I don't know how much you charge for coaching one-on-one. I'm not going to ask, but I imagine it's not insignificant. Same with me. But and I also help a lot of people for nothing, which I want to. But when people send me a message that I don't know and I'd love to buy you a coffee and pick your brain. I'm like, well, what you want is a $5 coaching session. It's like, I would rather you be honest and go, I don't have any dough. I think you're great. I would really like your help. Now, that's not an invitation, by the way, but do you know what I mean? At least you know what's happening.
I had one of those today, and I've known the guy a while. And yeah, to come back to the theme, who motivates the motivator? So I sent him a message, hey, happy to catch up. I don't have a lot of time and I don't drink a lot of coffee. I actually said, are you wanting some coaching or do you want to talk to me about selling something? Just can I cut through, what do you really want? So I haven't heard back yet. It was a bit ambiguous. I'd met him through footy.
And that's okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm like, just say the thing. And many times people will go, oh, are you interested in coming in with us on this project? And I go, tell me all about it. And then 30 minutes later, I go, nah. And they're like, and I go, that doesn't mean I don't think it'll work. That doesn't mean I don't think you're great. But if you want the truth, I don't want to be involved in that. That doesn't, that's not an insult. But are you saying, Craig, do you want to? The answer is no. But thanks for thinking on me. And then all of a sudden, you know if that's a friend based on what happens next. Because if what happens next is you don't hear from them for 2 years, you go, that was never a friendship.
Yeah, they wanted the experience without paying for it. It's called consulting. Hey, so Vin is going to ground you. Do you have someone that inspires? So I won't use the motivation word for you, but do you have people that you go to that give you, I love the Latin word, inspirare, the Latin word to breathe life into. So who breathes life into you?
A few people in different ways, but there's one person in my life that I have definitely over talked about on my show. So for people who have come over to have a listen from there, just go hop in the beanbag, make yourself a cup of coffee. But I don't know if I've mentioned him on here, but a friend of mine had a horrific car accident 8 years ago where he had gas bottles explode in the back of his ute and the roof was torn off. And the first responders got there and assumed that nobody could survive that and didn't even approach the vehicle to help because they just assumed that whoever was in there was dead. And also they thought there might be another explosion. So about an hour later, and of course he was still alive. They don't know how he was alive. I've actually got some good stuff around this guy. They got to him to do a body retrieval and he had a pulse. And they're like, how the fuck has he got a pulse? Because it's just his condition is not consistent with life. Anyway, the quick version is they went, oh, we probably won't make it to the Alfred, the hospital. And then they went, and he did. And they were mesmerized by that. Then they went, well, he's almost definitely not going to get through surgery. He needs so much surgery. It's going to take so long. And he's had so much happen to his body. Well, he got through the surgery and the surgery was like 22 hours or something crazy and teams of surgeons. Then he went into, obviously, to recovery and they went, well, all the stuff he probably won't wake up. If he does, it's not going to be great because he's going to have a significant brain injury. He's going to be a quadriplegic. He's, so without saying it'd be better if he died, they were kind of saying that, like in the, what's the most humane, da da da. Anyway, he was in hospital for nearly half a year. Obviously, didn't die. And I started training him the day after he came out of hospital. And we started in a wheelchair with a broomstick. I've been training and literally like a 200-gram piece of dowel where I would put it in his hands and I would see how far he could move that 200-gram bit of wood. And we started there doing pushing and pulling in a wheelchair with a bit of wood, with me providing manual resistance. And now 8 years later, he drives himself to the gym 3 days a week. He walks with sticks. He's got a spinal cord injury. He's got a TBI. He's got a brain injury. He wouldn't mind me saying this. He's got a bag for front and back, or he's catheterizes to wee. He's got a bag because he can't go to the toilet, and he's got a myriad of other issues. And he never has one day, like not 1 hour, Andrew, of one day where he isn't in pain. It's just how much pain he's in. And he comes into the gym. First thing he does is ask me how I am and hugs me, right? And many times I've seen him in the gym where his body just gets taken over by these massive involuntary spasms where he's just in excruciating 15 out of 10 pain, and he has this look on his face, and then it lasts maybe 60 seconds and then it goes, and then he is just exhausted. And nonetheless, he just keeps showing up. The only time he has any relief is when he's asleep, and never complains, and is always thanking me. And I'm not being disingenuous when I say he has done more for my mental and emotional health and my sense of values and gratitude, and then all the sessions. And also I will give a shout out to my training partner, Mark, who helps him as well. Yeah, he's been a teacher for me without even knowing it. So he is hands down. I don't really get that inspired by what people say because I'm so used to words, and words are so, but I get inspired by what people do. And I'm inspired and impressed by him in a way that nobody else that I know impresses me. So, and if I'm having a shit one, I honestly just think of him and punch myself in the face metaphorically.
It's inspirare, right? Breathing life into. How can you not shift your attitude? How can you not shift your energy? And how can you not shift that mindset that you've got opportunities when you're working with such a great man like him, who could easily have given up, I'm sure, multiple times, but he just keeps 100%. Going.
And look, it's not discounting anyone else's feelings, and we don't want to be, I want to be respectful. Like a big problem for a person is a big problem. But sometimes I think I'm in the middle of a big problem and I'm having a big problem response, like emotionally, nervous system, everything, cardiovascular, blood pressure, everything's going on. And then I just catch myself. I'm like, what's making this happen is not the thing, but rather my story in the moment about the thing. And we've banged on about this before. I'm fascinated with what our mind can do to our body for good or bad. Well, you think something terrible is going to happen, but it isn't. Your body just goes into that state of stress and anxiety, even though it's not required. That whole fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system response, blah, blah, blah. All that's going nuts, not because you're in danger, but because you think something.
Have you drawn on that in recent times with your mum and dad? Have you drawn
100%,
on your mate? Because even as we heard in that excerpt, you're driving a couple of hours to see your parents. You're driving a couple of hours back. That's a lot of time in the car to reflect and ruminate and to get into those spirals sometimes, that helplessness, hopelessness. We get into that spiral and everything becomes bad. So is that your strategy? You think about your mate, you think about some other things to pull you back up?
I think these days, to me, this is going to sound weird, but I'll come back to your question. It's like with willpower. Willpower doesn't work. And the reason willpower doesn't work is because nobody can be disciplined and focused and have willpower 24/7 for the next 30 years. So we need to reprogram ourselves to be able to do the thing that we need to do. So this is now hardwired into my subconscious. This is programmed into my normal operating system. This is a genuine non-negotiable. So I don't need to get inspired or motivated or disciplined or to do this thing, because that is just how I am now. It's like I don't need discipline, willpower, strength, or resilience to train every day, to eat 2 meals a day, to not drink booze, to not smoke, to not use drugs, to not do dumb shit to my body, because that's literally my normal operating system. And my normal cognitive, emotional, and psychological operating system is now very close to awareness and gratitude most of the time. The thing that I'm most scared about with my parents dying is their fear and their anxiety and their emotions around it. I'm not at all worried about me at all. I'm worried about when one of them goes, how the other one will be. Because to see them emotionally distraught, that fucking kills me. That kills me.
And because they've been together for what, 40, no, how many years?
Dude.
60 years. 64.
64 years.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine that. Like,
that's codependency.
My dad is my mum's oxygen. My mum is my dad's oxygen. They are the definition of codependent. And it's not unhealthy, because for the most of the time, it's good for them. Like, they're in love. My mum and dad are in love. They don't tolerate each other. They fucking love each other. And that's an inspiration. But yeah, so there's the things that I really worry about. It's not, how will I be after this? It's how will mum be when dad goes, or how will dad be when mum goes? And, the last week has been a real escalation. My dad's in care at the moment, and he's got arthritis, he's got Parkinson's disease, he's got diabetes, he's had multiple heart attacks, he's got heart issues, kidney issues, cognitive decline. It's not great, right? It's not great. And in the middle of that, then mum's compromised as well. And trying to be the conduit in the middle of them when it's appropriate, that is what they need. Because what they need isn't what I think necessarily will work. Sometimes I get in the way. Sometimes I'm the problem. So I'm trying to be very instinctive, intuitive, and compassionate to not be what they don't need and to be what they do need. And then the other complexity around this is that you get another 2 people who are both 87 years old. They need something totally different, even in the same situation. So this is where this instinctive, smarter than me intelligence that I can tap into, because the process I'm going through, which is the same for everyone at some stage, I've never done this before. I've never had parents in this position before. It's not like, I've done this 20 times before. I know how to navigate this. So you're just trying to be present. And the question I ask myself is, am I acting in love? And if I'm not acting in love or compassion or a version of love, then I need to pull myself up.
Because compassion's an interesting one. Because for someone who gives so much, you speak, you coach, you podcast, but the energy ratio is you giving to others. It's very rarely you getting from others. So it's good to hear about Vince and your mate who comes to the gym, because you're getting energy from that. And the research on compassion fatigue, it's very high in first responders, vets, personal trainers, people who do everything for everyone else and then put their oxygen mask on last. So I've been thinking about that. Like, what are you doing for self-compassion? Because you've done the research on this, you studied the research. We know when you're going through a really challenging time, having that self-compassion is so, so important. It sounds like you've got it in what you were just saying to me before.
Yeah, I think you need to know you and what I know about me. Like, for example, it's 4:32, right? So we'll be done in 10 or 15 minutes. And my plan for the rest of the night is food and Netflix or something equally as mind-numbing, because it's Friday. I've smashed myself this week. I've got to coach someone at 0700 tomorrow. I just know that unless I have a good sleep and good rest, and I need to self-regulate and self-manage when it's appropriate first. And I think that with everyone, I think put on your oxygen mask first. Look, there are times when you can't do that. I've had multiple phone calls at 11 o'clock at night where I'm literally asleep and I've got to get in my car within 3 or 4 minutes and drive up because, you know, dad's had 2 heart attacks, mum's had a heart attack, mum's had 2 lots of cancer, different cancers, multiple surgeries, you know, all that. But for the most part, which is most days, I need to recognize that if I straight after this jumped into another podcast, that I'd maybe get through another one, but the one after that would be shit because I'm just like right now I feel good. I'm with a friend. It's comfortable. I'm good. But I don't want to bring anything substandard to your show or you or our time together. And I think what is relaxing and what is therapeutic varies from person to person. For some people, going out to dinner with a bunch of friends and having 3 wines and, you know, being in the middle of the mayhem and laughing and socializing is perfect. For me, not. I don't like that. I like being with friends. I hate being in loud, noisy restaurants with 12 people and you can't hear what's going on and everybody's trying to give me a beer or make me eat the fucking tiramisu or all these things. You know, it's like I love you, but I don't eat that food. I don't drink that thing, and I don't want to control what you're doing. I just want you to have a good time. So I'll sit here, I'll be fine. But it just different things work for different people. You know, I always give this example. One of my friends hates dogs, which I find fucking strange because who hates dogs?
Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, they're actually traumatized and scared by dogs, so I kind of get it. But now you make that person lie on the floor and then have a dog come up and just be all over them. That person's cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, heart rate, blood pressure, fucking nervous system, it's all going to be exploding in a bad way. Conversely, you have the exact same thing happen with someone who loves dogs, and our body produces the exact opposite effect. And so it's not about the thing, but rather the way that we relate to that thing. For some people, lying on a floor with dogs or a dog is literally therapeutic. For the next person, it's stressful, which is why, you know, it's not about can you lie on the floor with a dog. It's not like does Xanax work for you. It's not like how many hours sleep is the ideal amount. There's no fucking ideal amount because different people need different things. But we get presented in media and social media with this concept that we all need to have 8 glasses of water a day or the equivalent. I'm like, well, I weigh 120 kilos and she weighs 45 kilos. Why the fuck do we both need 8 glasses? Or you.
And don't roll over in the middle of the night because you will squash her.
Yeah, no, I don't weigh that. But you know what I mean? It's just that these arbitrary things that get wheeled out as some kind of surefire solution is just garbage, which is why we need to trust ourselves. Your body is a biofeedback system. There's a thing in science which you know called interoception, and interoception is basically your body telling you, and not just on a biological or physiological level, but an emotional level, a psychological level, a cognitive level. Your body is always telling you stuff, and it's definitely smarter than your mind. So
it's telling you stuff if you do what you've done. I think that's been the gift you've given today. Yeah, because we said let's have a chat and to talk about motivating the motivator, because we all have different roles in our life, but everyone listening to this podcast has periods where they need to lift others. Now, it could be family, it could be colleagues, could be sporting team, could be community. But what's really come out today, and you've just nailed the science, the interoception on that. But when it comes to dealing with difficult shit in our life, Harps, this is what I've learnt the last few years. One size fits one.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good title for a podcast, dude. If you don't use that, I'm going to use it.
Done. Well, we can both use it. We'll share. And this one size fits all. Oh, my friend Doreen did this, and her parents are aging, and so Doreen finds that she eats lemons of a morning. She sticks her moccasins on and puts her legs upside down. Hasn't shaved her legs for 6 months, and that's worked for her. So you should do the same. Like, that sounds a bit crazy. Do what works for you.
I know it's, I know we've got to go, but don't say me or I'll punch you in the face. Who inspires you for real?
I got a few different people, and some I do know, some I don't know. So the word mentor, again, the Latin word mentore, to be like, there's people that I want to be like that I've never met.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even think of that. That is very true.
So from a craft point of view, in different roles, there's podcasters that I haven't met that I look at and I go, oh, wow, there's bits of them I'd like to be. In the performance psychology space, there's a couple of different psychologists or sports psychologists in the world. In the entrepreneurial business space. So, yeah, I have a bunch and I tend to rotate. I feel, you know, my crazy backwards speaking mind that you want to dig into and see what's going on with my brain cells. But I think about a table, and you've got a board with a whole bunch of people, and then they just sometimes come up when you need them. There's also 2 or 3 live people. I've got Marty Shepherd from KPMG. He's the Asia Pacific chairman. Marty's great for business stuff. I can just sit down and literally go, here it is. He goes, yeah, I got it. You told me enough. Like what I'd tell someone else 30 minutes, I tell Marty 10, show him a few pictures. He'll just cut to it. Doesn't bullshit, doesn't gloss over it. He's been invaluable for me in building businesses, but also just in life. And my mate Mario, like your mate Vince, Mario I've known since I was at school, and he just cuts through it, good and bad. And as we've got older, we've got much, much more comfortable just being really honest and open through the highs and the lows.
You know what I find sexy? How some people think, guys and girls. I just like, sometimes I hear someone say something or explain something, or I'm like, fuck, I like how they think. I want to think more like just because it's so, I don't know, there's something attractive about the way that some people see stuff and see life and navigate life. My last question for you, because it's now my podcast, is this.
Hey, before you ask that one, I call that an intellectual crush, and there's a bunch of people I have intellectual crushes on.
Yeah, that's much better.
Whereas
I like that.
When you're young and you just got hormones, it's a young man's, like it's a physical crush. And
my
then
last
for young women
disappeared. My last hormone disappeared in the 90s, so I'm saving up for a new one.
You're doing good. You had a question.
How do you know when, like, what happens in your body or your nervous system or your mind or your heart when you realize, I've got to chill out for a bit. I need to back off, or I need to take a day, a week, a month. What happens for you when your body or your whatever, your higher self, whatever, is telling you that you need to chill out and look after you a bit and stop rushing?
Yeah, so to get a bit nerdy back on you, it's the nervous system regulation. And then I know it shows up in 2 different ways. So for me, it's this. You can see on the camera and anyone watching on YouTube, my shoulders come up. I notice that my sternocleidomastoids get really tight, and also the upper part of my traps. I feel it in my shoulders, and I feel like I'm walking around tense. The other one for me, Harps, with 4 kids, is the Saturday morning 9 a.m. test, and this is all about vagal tone. Hey, Archie, where's soccer at today, mate? It's Liverpool. Okay, that's a 50-minute drive. Yep. Okay, so you've got a 9 a.m. game, so we've got to leave here by 7:30. Got everything ready, mate? Yep. And then leading up to 9 a.m., he can't find his boots. What do you do? Like, if I find that I snap and I become irritable on a Saturday, like Saturday morning is just a story, but generally it is the back of the week because I've been my best self for my clients and doing podcasts and launching programs, and then I'm an arsehole for my family. So they're the 2 ones. One is physical, and it's the riding of the shoulder girdle. And the second one is there's no buffer. So, you talk about that amygdala hijack. There's no pause between what Archie or what the kids are saying and then me just roaring at them. And then I just go, oh, geez, I'm not managing my nervous system during the week to enable me to do the most important job, ultimately the most important job, which is to be a role model for my 4 kids and for my loving partner at home. So they're the 2 ones, mate. I notice that I'm a bit short and shitty. And I'd never be like that with an executive from a large bank or a consulting firm. They'd sack you on the spot. Why are you such an arsehole sometimes for your family?
That's so interesting. Because some part of you knows, well, I can do this here. I can crack the shits in the car, but I can't crack the shits in this boardroom.
Well, you
That's
can,
it.
but you'll never come back.
No. I just want to apologize to all your viewers because I forgot that I know this is videoed, but I forgot that you actually use the video. So for everybody who's watched me drink coffee and water simultaneously for the last hour, I apologize.
You haven't scratched any parts of your anatomy that were inappropriate, so we just let it go.
No, I've been swigging on a litre of water and drinking caffeine in between just to keep me cognizant so I can keep up with your giant brain.
Harps, I'll say this on behalf of my small audience, and if you play this on your platform for your large audience, we love you. Did you get the massage voucher?
I didn't. Where is that?
We sent you one.
You emailed it to me, did you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That's I'm a massage fan. I was going to say another word, but you can.
It's a legitimate massage. There's nothing untoward in this one.
I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
Then no. Do you know what's funny is I think I can say the brand. Can I say the brand? The company?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Endota Spa.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give away where I live, but let's just say there's one very close to my house.
Yes, Tiff told me.
Ah, fucking sneaky Tiff.
Sneaky Tiff, yeah. So
This is like a big coincidence, but well, that's good. Thank you, mate. I will enjoy that. I will enjoy that massage. Like good massage, because there's some shit massage, but good massage is just, oh my God.
But there's two things. You've got to rock up into that Endota Spa that happens to be in the suburb you live in.
Yes.
And when you're doing it, just know there's a lot of people that love you. There's a lot of people that you've touched. There's thousands on your platform over the years. You were so generous when you met me when I had big hair and a hoop earring, and you said, "Come for a walk, son." I went up and said, I've said this on another podcast, Craig, I'm Andrew. I'm from Hobart. I'd love your talk and love to have a chat. And I probably said exactly what we were saying before. Hey, I'd love to have a conversation. Can I buy you a coffee? But you said, hey, I'm going to go and have lunch. Come for a walk with me, son. You've always been so generous. I know you're going through a hard time. We know you're going through a hard time. So when you have a massage, it's only a small token of appreciation. But just have a reflection, and I will circle back. As you're having that massage, I want you to just know that there's so many people that appreciate you, love you, and we're thinking of you, mate.
You're a genuinely good person. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. I might even need it. So thank you. I need the love and I need the massage. So win-win, tickety-boo. I'm happy. You're a winner. I've always, the time when we first met, I kind of like I can read people pretty well, and you've always been genuine and generous, and like, not that you need to be, but you've always been grateful, which people aren't always grateful when you help them out a little bit. So you're most welcome, and you've given me as much as I've given you, if not more. So thanks for letting me on your show, and shout out to all your listeners and peeps, and I hope they got something out of today.
Yeah, always get something. One size fits one. When you're going through a tough time, do what you need to do. Yeah, and get support. No one should do this alone. Get support. Get people around you.
I feel like I'm having a therapy session now. Oh, it's a little uncomfortable. Fuck, it's getting hot in here again. Oh, the only child, the alpha male. Oh, thanks, mate.
All right, mate. Have a good weekend.